Well, hello there, Brian King coming at you. I've had a couple interesting conversations already today, and it sprouted from a post I made asking a pretty straightforward question, one that I'm sure you've heard before. It's if you knew then what you know now, what would you do different? Now, there are some reflexive answers that I get when I ask that question. I imagine that you've either heard them or spoken them yourself. You say something like, well, I wouldn't change a thing about my past because it made me who I am. Or, everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. That's too easy. That's the superficial response. You need to look deeper. Because asking the question, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do different? That's your opportunity to reflect and ask yourself, what have I learned? How far have I come? What progress have I made? Where am I at in my journey? If I look back and see what I didn't know that I now know, I could say, job well done. Way to go. But that's the positive thing to do with it. The negative thing that people tend to do is they tend to reflect upon their past with regret. Well, if I knew then what I know now, I sure as heck wouldn't have done that thing. Man, looking back today, I still feel bad about it. I feel real stupid for that. I wouldn't have gone on a date with this person. I wouldn't have married that person. I wouldn't have taken that job. Entirely not useful way of looking at your past. When you say, I wish I hadn't, I wish I coulda, all that stuff. Looking back with regret is a focus on missed opportunities, on lack, mistakes, things you did wrong, things that you don't have. When you look back and say, man, look how far I've come. How great is it that I chose this versus that? Yeah, who knows where it could have led if I made the other decision. But because of the decision I did make, look where I'm at. It's essentially flipping regret on its head. Instead of looking at regret, looking at it through the lens of regret, you're looking at it through the lens of gratitude. It has entirely to do with the value that you place on the past. If I knew then what I know now, tells me that then I didn't know certain things. Now I do. Now I know this and I'm grateful. Now I know that and I'm grateful. Because look what kind of options it gives me. Look what skills stronger I am. I'll give you a couple of examples. I had a conversation with a lady in one of the groups that I belong to. And she was being kind of hard on herself because she saw other people in the same niche that she's in doing, at least perceiving, to be doing much better than she is. And she was kind of beating herself up for not being more proactive and not doing more to own the niche that she's in and allowing her competition to get ahead of her. That's kind of like driving down the road and you're looking at everybody else going faster and you're envying the speed that they're going. You're envying the kind of car they have. What are you not doing? You're not paying attention to the road. You're not looking where you're going because you're spending more time envying them. That's how accidents happen. That's how opportunities to go on an off-ramp get missed. You're not staying in your own lane. You're paying attention to somebody else. Another thing that I mentioned to this lady is we build the foundation of our lives on the bricks that we keep, not the bricks that we give away, not the opportunities that we've missed. Cindy chimed in. She says, I love when I go back through, if I had done that, the other thing would not have happened. Yeah, it's amazing where life can take you. I had cancer when I was 18. I was diagnosed with ADHD. I had kids that ended up with Asperger's. Each one of these things put leverage on my life to move in a different direction that likely would not have occurred to me had I stayed the original course. And there's no point in me looking back saying, man, if I hadn't had a kid with Asperger's, or what if I'd stayed with this girlfriend and married her instead of the one that I did? What value is there in devaluing where you are in your life and what you've created because of what if? I have 3 amazing boys that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into, and I'm so proud of the young men they're becoming. Why on earth would I devalue them and the journey they've taken me on by saying, what if I married this other girl? What if I'd taken that job? What if I'd stayed with it? If I had stayed with that job instead of opening my own practice, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, because I wouldn't be in the field of helping people in the autism and ADHD communities. I'd still be working in the private sector, helping somebody else accomplish their goals. Okay? So, all tangents aside, scatterbrain, what I was saying to this lady about, we build the foundation of our lives based on the bricks we keep. I made a choice to use these bricks. Let's see what I can do with them. And by focusing on building what resources you have, you can actually build something useful with that, instead of sitting there doing nothing because you wish you had those other bricks. Because this lady went on to say that she started getting new clients, she was getting good results. And in my mind, that provides new bricks for confidence, for getting reinforcement of what you do that works, what you do that doesn't work, what you do that is different, unique, sets you apart from those other people that you are comparing yourself to. Focus on building your foundation out of your bricks, and lo and behold, you will begin to stand out from the others that you think are doing much better than you. Because the better you begin to do, the more noticeable your uniqueness is out there in the entrepreneur sphere, or however you want to refer to it. But the only way you can accomplish that is by staying in your own lane, build with your own bricks, forget the comparing, forget the regretting. Easier said than done, I know. I'm just pointing out the work that needs to be done. 2 days ago, I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. And that's on top of all the other crap I have to deal with. I also found out that it could have been spotted in 2011 when the first MRI showed evidence of lesions in my brain. Doctors blew it off, didn't follow up on it. What's done is done. When I found that out, I went through the initial woulda, coulda, shoulda. What if we'd known that? Could I have been getting treatment? Could my life have been better? Okay? That kind of question asking is really good for generating anger and resentment and regret. What could I have done? Is there something I missed? How come I didn't know better? Why didn't I follow up? On and on and on. Now, knowing what I know, and looking back and asking, if I knew then what I know now, would I have done anything differently? Maybe. Would I be exactly where I'm at now, even if I'd known way back then? Who knows? There are no answers to those questions because I didn't know then what I know now. So with my present day knowledge, what can I do? I'm fortunate in that I've amassed one hell of a community that I can reach out to and says, hey, who out there has MS? Who knows some awesome resources that you can point me in the direction of? And that's pretty much what I did. And I've been getting a lot of support and a lot of help because of that. So what I didn't know then that I do know now are all the resources that are available. So I can take action to create a better present and a future instead of worrying about, could I have had a better past? It's hard to have a better past, but it's pretty darn, I don't want to say easy, but it's much more accessible to have a better present and future. So flip regret on its head. Change the way you look at your past so you're not thinking in terms of woulda, coulda, shoulda. Think in terms of, I'm grateful I know this. I'm grateful I learned that. I am so incredibly grateful for the people and the resources that are in my life now because of the doors it opens and the options it gives me. So that's what I wanted to leave you with. I'm going to go read the comments now. that you were kind enough to leave underneath the video, and I will respond to each and every one. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this is useful for you, and feel free to share it far and wide if other people can benefit as well. This has been Brian. Have an awesome day.